Hi everyone, welcome to our journey through Hannibal's epic march during the Second Punic War. What's something people don't know about Hannibal's daring strategy? The year was 218 BC, a time when the ancient world was rife with conflict and ambition. A young Carthaginian general stood at the foot of the Alps, a mountain range deemed impassable by many. This was no ordinary general, he was a visionary with a bold plan. His name was Hannibal Barca, and he was about to embark on one of the most daring military campaigns in history. His eyes were set on a prize that many thought unattainable. Leading an army of seasoned warriors, cavalry, and a train of elephants, Hannibal's objective was not mere conquest. He sought to challenge the might of Rome itself. It was the utter destruction of Rome itself. His strategy was as audacious as it was brilliant, aiming to strike fear into the heart of the Roman Republic. Hannibal's plan was audacious, bordering on insane. Many thought it was a fool's errand, but Hannibal was undeterred. Instead of engaging the Romans on their home turf, he chose a route considered impossible. He would take his army through the Alps, a feat that had never been attempted on such a scale. He would march his army over the treacherous Alps, a journey fraught with perilous passes, unpredictable weather, and the constant threat of ambush. The challenges were immense, but so was Hannibal's resolve. This was a gamble of epic proportions, one that could cripple Rome or shatter Hannibal's reputation forever. The stakes were high, and the world watched with bated breath. To understand Hannibal's burning desire for vengeance, we must turn back the clock to the First Punic War. This conflict, a brutal struggle for supremacy in the Western Mediterranean, had ended 23 years prior with a humiliating defeat for Carthage. The war had drained Carthage's resources and left the city-state yearning for retribution. It was in this climate of resentment that Hannibal Barca was raised. His father, Hamilcar Barca, a renowned Carthaginian general, instilled in his son a deep hatred for Rome. Legend has it that Hannibal, as a young boy, swore an oath on the altar of Baal, pledging to dedicate his life to the destruction of Rome. Hannibal's march across the Alps was an extraordinary feat of military logistics and leadership. The journey was fraught with challenges. The narrow, winding paths were treacherous, often covered in ice and snow. Food was scarce, and the biting cold claimed the lives of many men and animals. Despite these hardships, Hannibal's determination never wavered. He rallied his troops, inspiring them with tales of past glories and promises of future victories. The sight of the Carthaginian army, complete with its contingent of elephants winding its way through the towering peaks of the Alps, was a testament to Hannibal's unwavering resolve and the remarkable resilience of his soldiers. Hannibal's arrival in Italy sent shockwaves through the Roman Republic. His journey across the treacherous Alps with a massive army, including war elephants, was a feat that seemed almost impossible. The Romans were unprepared for such audacity and were caught off guard by his sudden presence in their homeland. He quickly scored a series of victories against Roman legions, demonstrating his tactical genius and the prowess of his diverse army. Each battle showcased his ability to outmaneuver and outthink his opponents, earning him a fearsome reputation. However, it was the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC that would cement Hannibal's reputation as one of the greatest military commanders in history. This battle is often studied in military academies around the world for its brilliant tactics and devastating effectiveness. At Cannae, Hannibal faced a numerically superior Roman army. The Romans, confident in their numbers and traditional tactics, believed they could easily crush the Carthaginian forces. Undeterred, he masterfully deployed his troops in a crescent formation, luring the Romans into a deadly trap. This formation was designed to absorb the Roman attack and then envelop them from the sides. As the Roman legions pressed their attack on the center of Hannibal's lines, the Carthaginian flanks swung inward, encircling the enemy in a pincer movement. This maneuver effectively trapped the Roman soldiers, leaving them with no room to escape. The result was a massacre. The Roman army, once so confident, found itself utterly decimated. Tens of thousands of Roman soldiers were slaughtered, marking one of the most devastating defeats in Roman history. The Battle of Cannae remains a stark reminder of Hannibal's strategic brilliance and the catastrophic consequences of underestimating one's enemy. The defeat at Cannae sent shockwaves through Rome. Panic gripped the city as news of the catastrophic defeat spread. Yet, amidst the despair, the Roman spirit remained unbroken. The Roman Senate, displaying remarkable resilience, refused to surrender. They initiated a series of reforms, levied new legions, and adopted a new strategy of attrition, designed to wear down Hannibal's forces. Rome's new strategy centered on avoiding pitched battles with Hannibal's main army. Instead, they focused on harassing his supply lines, retaking lost territories, and engaging his forces in smaller skirmishes. This war of attrition, while frustrating for Hannibal, gradually chipped away at his army's strength and morale. As the war dragged on, a new generation of Roman leaders emerged, determined to break the stalemate and bring the war to Carthage. Among them was a young general named Publius Cornelius Scipio, later known as Scipio Africanus. Scipio, a brilliant strategist and a charismatic leader, recognized that the key to defeating Hannibal lay in carrying the fight to Carthage itself. In a daring move, Scipio persuaded the Senate to allow him to lead an expeditionary force to Spain, Hannibal's primary source of manpower and resources. Scipio's campaign in Spain was a resounding success. He captured key Carthaginian cities and inflicted heavy losses on Carthaginian forces, and most importantly, cut off Hannibal's supply lines to Iberia. Scipio's victories in Spain forced Hannibal to abandon his Italian campaign and return to Africa to defend Carthage. The two generals, both masters of warfare, finally met on the battlefield at Zama in 202 BC. The Battle of Zama was a clash of titans, a battle that would decide the fate of the Western Mediterranean. At Zama, Scipio outmaneuvered Hannibal, anticipating his opponent's tactics and countering them with devastating effectiveness. Scipio's cavalry, superior in both numbers and skill, routed the Carthaginian horsemen, while his infantry, fighting with unwavering discipline, broke through Hannibal's lines. The Carthaginian army, once invincible, was decisively defeated. The Battle of Zama marked the end of the Second Punic War, a conflict that had raged for nearly 2 decades. It was a decisive moment that signaled the beginning of Rome's rise to dominance in the Mediterranean, altering the balance of power in the ancient world. Carthage, once a thriving and powerful city-state, was crippled by the war and burdened by a heavy indemnity. Ultimately reduced to a Roman vassal state, its influence and autonomy severely diminished. Hannibal, though defeated, managed to escape capture, evading the Romans who sought to bring him to justice. He lived to see his beloved Carthage rebuilt, a testament to his enduring spirit and the resilience of his people. Hannibal's legacy, however, extends far beyond his defeat at Zama. His name is synonymous with military genius. He is remembered as one of the greatest military commanders in history, a master tactician and a brilliant strategist whose campaigns are still studied today. His daring invasion of Italy, crossing the Alps with war elephants in a feat that seemed impossible, his stunning victory at Cannae, where he annihilated a much larger Roman force, and his ability to hold off the might of Rome for over a decade, showcased his unparalleled military prowess. These achievements cemented his place in military history, inspiring countless future generals and strategists. The Second Punic War, a clash of civilizations between Rome and Carthage, was more than just a series of battles. It shaped the course of Western civilization, influencing the political and cultural landscape for centuries to come. The war established Rome as the dominant power in the Mediterranean, setting the stage for its transformation into a vast empire. This dominance paved the way for Rome's eventual transformation into a vast empire that would leave an indelible mark on history. And at the heart of this epic conflict stood Hannibal Barca, the Carthaginian general whose name would be remembered for millennia. Despite his ultimate defeat, Hannibal's tactical brilliance and relentless spirit earned him a place in the annals of history. He earned the respect of his enemies, including the Romans, who admired his strategic mind and tenacity. Hannibal's legacy endures not just as a Carthaginian hero, but as a legend of military history whose strategies continue to be revered and studied.